Deep in the Cascade Mountains of Washington, the Iron Goat Trail is a place of desolation. Once a railway passage, it was abandoned after a tragedy in the early 20th century. A deadly avalanche buried workers alive, their bodies never recovered. The trail is infamous among hikers for its eerie stillness, a quiet that seems to press against the ears. Kara Reynolds was no stranger to isolation. A 28-year-old office worker from Seattle, she found solace in solo hikes, seeking freedom in places untouched by human noise. On July 16th, she parked her car at the trailhead of the Iron Goat Trail, intending to complete a 7-mile loop before dusk. She was well prepared, her gear meticulously packed, her phone fully charged. No one saw her again. Kara's disappearance might have been dismissed as another tragic hiking accident, if not for what searchers found during the investigation. The clues she left behind, what little there were, hinted at something much darker, something that could not be easily explained. Kara's hike began without incident. The day was overcast, the kind of gray sky that casts the forest in perpetual twilight. She followed the trail for hours, stopping occasionally to take photos or sip water from her flask, but at some point she strayed from the path. Perhaps it was curiosity, perhaps it was a simple misstep. What is known is that her footprints veered into an unmarked section of forest, away from the safety of the trail. Her GPS, later analyzed, showed erratic movements, backtracking, circling, as if she had become disoriented. Search teams found her backpack first, abandoned near a moss-covered boulder. Nearby, they discovered her phone. It was lying face down on the forest floor, miraculously undamaged despite the elements. The phone was unlocked, its battery partially drained. What they found inside disturbed even the most seasoned searchers. The Photos app was open, displaying the last images Kara had taken. The first few were normal, shots of the trail, the towering evergreens, a self-portrait with her smiling faintly. Then the photos changed. The angle shifted, as though someone else was holding the camera. The next image was of Kara herself, walking alone, unaware she was being watched. The shots became more invasive, closer, and more deliberate. The final image was taken at ground level. The camera pointed upward. It showed Kara's face, wide-eyed with terror, illuminated by the phone's flash. Her mouth was open as if mid-scream, but no sound had been heard by anyone nearby. There was no blood, no obvious sign of a struggle. The search party combed the area, but Kara's body was never found. The forest offered no answers. The case might have ended there, a mystery left to speculation, if not for the phone's strange behavior. When investigators attempted to extract data from it, the device malfunctioned. Files were corrupted, and the images began disappearing, one by one. Before the data was completely lost, a technician noticed something chilling. GPS metadata embedded in the photos indicated they had been taken at multiple locations within the forest, some over a mile apart, all within seconds of each other. In the days following the discovery of the phone, those involved in the search began reporting strange occurrences. One hiker claimed to hear faint laughter echoing through the woods, though he was alone. Another found his own footprints leading into the forest, though he swore he had never ventured off the trail. Kara's story has since become a cautionary tale, whispered among hikers and locals in the region. The Iron Goat Trail has seen a sharp decline in visitors. Some blame the environment, its treacherous cliffs, its confusing terrain. Others whisper of a malevolent presence, something that doesn't just stalk its prey, but plays with it, drawing them into the shadows. Years have passed, and the forest has reclaimed the area where Kara vanished. No further evidence has been found. The case remains open, though interest from law enforcement has waned. Those who dare to hike the Iron Goat Trail today report a peculiar sensation, an unshakable feeling of being watched. Some claim to hear footsteps trailing them, though no one is there when they turn around. And occasionally, on overcast days when the forest is at its quietest, hikers find objects left behind by others who never returned. Kara's phone was one of them. It wasn't the first. It won't be the last. What remains unanswered is this: who or what was holding the camera? And where did Kara go after the final photo was taken? There are towns in America that seem removed from time, operating at a pace dictated by traditions and a collective memory that rarely changes. Pine Hollow, nestled deep in the Appalachian foothills of West Virginia, is one of those places. The air there is heavy, not just with the scent of pine and earth, but with something less tangible. Pine Hollow is not a town people move to. It's a town you're born into or leave behind, carrying its secrets with you. That is why Joseph Keene's arrival in the summer of 1983 unsettled the town from the moment his battered sedan crossed its boundaries. Keene was an anomaly. He carried with him a single suitcase, rented a decrepit house at the edge of town, and spoke only as necessary. His landlord, Mrs. Hargrove, later recalled his eyes, cold, pale blue, and unnervingly distant, as if looking through her. The people of Pine Hollow ignored him at first, treating him as another drifter passing through. But the strange occurrences that began shortly after his arrival ensured they would never forget him. It began with the forest. The woods encircling Pine Hollow had always been dense and quiet, but now an unnatural energy seemed to emanate from them. Dogs, known for roaming freely, began to disappear. On several occasions, collars were found hanging from fences as though deliberately displayed. Worse, there was the smell, a nauseating, metallic stench wafting from Keene's property on certain nights. Speculation turned to suspicion. Teenagers, emboldened by liquor and bravado, decided to investigate Keene's property late one night. Their courage faltered when they stumbled across something half buried near the tree line. A skeletal hand, gray and rotten, jutted from the soil like a grotesque relic of the past. They fled in panic, their screams cutting through the quiet town. By morning, the sheriff, Garrett Tate, was at Keene's door. But when he arrived, the yard was undisturbed. No disturbed soil, no skeletal remains. Only Keene standing on his porch, watching them with an unnerving stillness. Garrett left empty-handed, but the encounter left the town shaken. People avoided walking alone at night. Doors were locked, windows barred, and yet no one dared confront Joseph directly. The culmination of Pine Hollow's nightmare occurred on a stormy October evening. Mrs. Hargrove, concerned about overdue rent, ventured to Keene's house. She found the door ajar and stepped inside. The stench of decay hit her immediately, a pungent wave that sent her reeling. She descended into the basement, calling Joseph's name. What she discovered cannot be forgotten. Authorities described the basement as a scene from nightmares. Bodies decomposing and meticulously arranged, displayed in macabre, ritualistic poses. The walls were painted with crude symbols, etched in a language that defied translation. In the center of the room, atop a crude table gouged with deep scratches, lay a black leather-bound book. Its pages contained diagrams and incantations written in an ancient, unrecognizable script. Joseph Keene had vanished by the time the authorities arrived. His name yielded no records, and no photographs of him existed. The book, analyzed by experts, appeared to detail rites designed to summon something vast and unspeakably malevolent. It spoke of offerings, human lives given to draw forth the ancient hunger, an entity referenced only in fragmented folklore. Pine Hollow changed forever. The forest near Keene's property became unwelcoming. The trees, once healthy, twisted unnaturally. Animals avoided the area. Locals claimed the ground itself felt wrong, as if imbued with an energy that repelled life. The house at Blackthorn Road stood empty for a year before it mysteriously burned to the ground. No one claimed responsibility. No one in Pine Hollow wanted to acknowledge its existence, let alone its destruction. Yet the memory of Joseph Keene lingered like a shadow cast over the town. Whispers about Keene's nature proliferated. Some believed he had uncovered something ancient in the forest, a force no human was meant to disturb. Others suggested he was never human at all, merely a vessel for something darker. What is certain is this: Keene's legacy left Pine Hollow fractured. The town exists, but its heart has darkened. People still speak of him in hushed tones, passing his story to those who dare to listen. They say that on quiet nights, if you stand too close to the edge of the woods, you can hear whispers, faint but persistent, like the echo of something waiting. Pine Hollow is still there, but no one ventures near where Keene's house once stood. The darkness he left behind feels alive, growing with each passing year, a testament to a man, or perhaps a force that Pine Hollow will never truly escape.